and now I'm outside. Hi everyone, Sydney Rock back again with another video on negotiations, and today I want to share something with you. Basically, the inspiration for today's video is that I was listening to a call-in show of Freedomain Radio, which is a great show, great site. I would highly recommend it. Stefan Molyneux, the host, had a great influence on my way of thinking in so many ways. I can't even go into it right now. But something that he mentioned, I forget the exact context, but one of the callers said something about, asked him a question about how important negotiation is. And in his response, he said something along the lines of, yes, negotiation is important, but the skill of determining who to and not to negotiate with is almost more important. So today I'd like to give you a tool that will help determine when someone's not worth negotiating with at all. And this is more than someone who wants to go for win-lose. We've already covered that. But I think that it's important to tell when someone is so messed up that they're not even worth negotiating, or at least the frame of mind that they're in. So the main thing I want to discuss today is passive aggression, and I want to talk about how to recognize it and how to deal with it when you do recognize it. So basically, passive aggression, it's really simple to identify once you have a clean definition and a clear process to identify it. But sadly, most of us as children, we're raised with a lot of passive aggression, and it becomes so imbued in our way of life that we can do it even ourselves without really realizing that we're doing it. It kind of becomes like explaining to a fish what water is. So basically, passive aggression is really simple. The idea is you have person A and person B. So person A says something to person B that is likely to provoke an emotional response. And then when person B responds in that way, person A rejects the response. So let's go with a really simple example. Let's say that you're overweight and you're insecure about it. And we're discussing things, we're talking about whatever, and you say something along the lines of, I'm hungry, I could go for a snack right now. And I say something like, yeah, I bet you would, or oh, what a surprise, or some basically dickish, sarcastic remark like that. And then when you say, when you react in a hurt way, I say something along the lines of, stop being so serious, you can't take a joke, these kinds of things. I think that's a really straightforward example. A much more insidious one, which I think happens more frequently, but it's hard to tell, you know, is, let's say you and I are discussing about something, a course of action, and you want to do something and I want to do something else. And after a while I say, okay, fine, we'll just do what you want to do. And you can tell that I'm a bit irate, and you say something like, Sid, are you alright? And I say, yeah, I'm fine, we'll just do it. And basically I'm rejecting the discomfort that I just created in you by throwing up my hands and saying, fine, we'll do it your way, and that's it. So basically those are, that's really, passive aggression is really that simple to detect. And as I said, it happens so much more frequently than we suspect in our lives once we know how to identify it. Now, the way to deal with it, it's not really a way to deal with it, but basically it's when you just let the person know, like, hey, that was passive aggression. What you did, you need to go into a technical description like I just did, but you say, hey, you just made a comment about my weight and made me feel uncomfortable, and then you just reject it. Like, what gives? That's not cool. And then when the person that you're talking to, their reaction to that will tell you a lot about whether or not it's worth negotiating with that person. So when you've told the person what they're doing and really exposed the passive aggression that they were just doing, if they start making excuses or continue to defend their own behavior, that's a clue that the person probably isn't worth negotiating with, at least at that time. Whereas a natural, well, I'd say a healthy response would be to simply apologize and say what's really going on within you, or at least discuss it in a way. So the other thing, like an example that happened to me the other day, I was with a client, and again, it's all about how you view your relationship with the person that you're discussing with. So I was with a client and his wife, and long story short, I was showing him some options about what we had available at the time, and his wife didn't like it, and instantly his wife starts getting into this, I should have gone with the competition, I should have, you know, basically reacting in a way where she was displaying her discomfort, but in a really sideways, like, I don't want to say being a dick, but that's basically what it was. And technically she's not even the client, she was the husband's client. Sorry, the client's wife, there we go. So in the moment, you know, I'm not going to antagonize her, and the relationship isn't really worth getting into the details of like what's going on for you, what's going on for me, and all that stuff. So basically my decision in that moment was to basically cut her out of the conversation. So I'd acknowledge her as little as I could and really focus on the husband, who was my actual client. And just being able to recognize that was a key that could keep me, a key tool that could keep me focused, keep me on the ball, and help me get the negotiation to where I wanted it to be. Whereas I did let one comment slide where I said, I'm sorry you feel that way. And naturally, she didn't say much about it. But she was decent enough to at least, after we had concluded the transaction, to say, yeah, I'll try not to be as grumpy next time, or something like that. Like, she could realize what she was doing, and it's not that big of a deal, but I'm just using that as an example of when just being able to identify passive aggression could be a tool to help you avoid wasting time with people that aren't worth it, at least in the moment. Again, it's all about your relationship with that person, how invested you are, how invested you want them to be. So that will be it for today. Thank you once again for taking the time to watch this video. You'll find some links at the bottom here for more information on negotiation and stuff like that. So thank you very much once again. I'll see you in the next video. Later.